Okay, so you know that feeling when your tech news is just overflowing. Like, seriously, it's like a tidal wave.
Yeah, totally. It's like drinking from a fire hose sometimes, right?
It really is. And so for this deep dive, consider us like, I don't know, your tech news filters. We've gone through it all. We've picked out the most interesting stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Just the good stuff. The stuff that's actually going to be useful, or at least possibly useful.
Absolutely useful. I like that. That's actually for the guy whose newsletter we're looking at today.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're going deep on Andrew Kagan's random technical news you can possibly use this week.
So we're not just going to read off the headlines, right? We're going to actually like dig in and figure out what's important, what it means for, people out there listening.
Exactly. And Andrew's newsletter, it's pretty comprehensive, so it gives us a lot to talk about.
It does. It covers a lot of ground. We're talking Azure, Microsoft, 365, Power Platform Dynamics 365.
Yeah.
Even DevOps and SRE.
And don't forget data and AI, security and compliance. There's a learning and certification section, and then even industry news and trends.
It's a lot. So buckle up. I guess let's start with Azure.
Okay, so if you want the big picture of Azure updates, there's a video from March 21st that Andrew links to.
Okay, so that's like the high-level overview. But then there's this video about account recovery that caught my eye.
Yeah, protect account recovery using FaceCheck with Entra-Verified ID.
Entra-Verified ID sounds pretty futuristic.
It kind of is. It's all about using biometrics, like your face, to make account recovery more secure.
So instead of like scrambling to remember your password or digging through old emails to find that recovery link, you can just use your face.
Right, exactly. And it makes it way harder for someone to hijack your account, if you're trying to reset your password.
It's like next level security, right?
Yeah.
So much more reliable.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's also this thing about Oracle and Microsoft services expanding an Oracle database at Azure.
Okay, so for people who use both Oracle and Azure, what does that actually mean for them?
Well, it's kind of part of this bigger trend of cloud services working better together, right? So this means you have more choices and things should run more smoothly.
So like better performance, easier to manage your systems, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. More flexibility if you're using both platforms. And there's a read more link in the newsletter if you want the nitty-gritty details.
Gotcha. More flexibility is always good.
Right.
Okay, so let's shift gears now and talk Microsoft 365.
Sounds good.
It seems like there's a lot about getting the most out of the tools you're already using and also getting ready for AI.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. There's this video, Microsoft Lists. Discover what's possible.
Okay, so Lists is one of those things that everyone has, but maybe not everyone's using to its full potential.
Right, exactly. So this video is all about showing you what lists can really do for organization and collaboration.
And then there's a video, getting your data ready for Copilot. That seems pretty important if you want to use AI effectively.
Oh, yeah, it's crucial. Copilot's amazing, but it needs good data to work its magic.
So it's like, if your data is a mess, Copilot's not going to be able to help you much.
Exactly. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. So this video walks you through how to organize your data so Copilot can actually use it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You got to lay the groundwork first. And speaking of groundwork, there's this thing about Office apps get a speed boost.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Everyone loves faster apps, right?
Who doesn't, right? Faster Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It just makes everything smoother.
Totally. And there's a read more link with all the details about which apps got faster and what kind of performance gains you can expect.
Nice. So less waiting, more doing. And then we have a couple security videos. Connect apps to Defender for Cloud Apps. What's the benefit of doing that?
So Defender for Cloud Apps, it's like your security headquarters, right? And this video shows you how to connect all your apps, not just Microsoft ones.
So you can see everything in one place, all your apps, all your data.
Exactly. And that gives you better visibility into security threats no matter where they're coming from.
So it's like having a unified security system for all your cloud stuff.
Exactly. And then there's also resolving high CQU in Microsoft Defender Antivirus.
Okay, so that's a super practical one, right? If your computer's running slow because of antivirus, this video can help.
Yeah, it's a troubleshooting guide. It shows you how to figure out what's causing the high CPU and how to fix it.
That's awesome because that can be so frustrating when your computer's just crawling.
Totally. And then the last thing for Microsoft 365 is a few videos for IT pros specifically.
Right. Microsoft 365 Business Premium for IT pros.
So these videos are all about managing and securing those environments. It's a deeper dive for IT folks.
Awesome. So if you're an IT pro managing Microsoft 365 Business Premium, definitely check those out.
Definitely. Okay, so moving on to the Power Platform and Dynamics 365.
Okay, so first up, we have an update for Power Automate for desktop.
Yes. The March 2025 update.
If you're into automation, you'll want to click that read more link.
Yeah, for sure. It's got all the details about the new features and improvements.
And then there's this 2025 Powerful Devs Hack Together thing, and they're announcing the winners.
Oh yeah, these hackathons are so cool. They're basically coding competitions where people build amazing things with the Power Platform.
So it's a way to see what's possible with Power Apps. Automate Power BI.
Exactly. And it's a great way to get inspiration for your own projects, see what other people are doing.
Definitely. And then there's this thing about a grace period for moving from Power BI Premium to Microsoft Fabric.
Right. Microsoft Fabric is the next generation of Power BI. So this grace period gives you time to adjust.
So you can figure out how to migrate your stuff and get used to the new environment without any disruptions.
Exactly. There's a read more link with all the details about the timeline and the steps involved.
Awesome. So make sure you check that out if you're using Power BI Premium.
Okay, so let's switch gears again and talk about DevOps, SRE, and infrastructure.
Okay.
There's a video about Python plus AI, retrieval augmented generation, or RAG.
Okay, so AG, that sounds pretty technical. Can you break it down for us?
Sure. So imagine you have an AI that's really smart, right? But it can also instantly access your own documents and databases.
Okay, that sounds pretty powerful.
It is. That's what RG is all about, combining the power of AI with your own specific information.
So instead of just giving you general answers, the AI can give you answers based on your own data.
Exactly. And the Python part just means they're using the Python programming language to build these systems.
Got it. And then there's this article, Master the Art of Python Debugging.
Ah, yes, debugging the bane of every programmer's existence.
Right. So this article is all about finding and fixing those pesky bugs in your code.
Exactly. It's got tips, techniques, tools, everything you need to become a debugging master.
Awesome. And speaking of tools, there's this guide, Mastering GitHub Copilot, AI Agent Mode Guide.
Oh, yeah, Copilot, that AI coding assistant that's been making waves.
So this guide is about taking Copilot to the next level using its AI agent mode.
Right. The AI agent mode is like Copilot on steroids. It can handle more complex tasks and be more proactive.
So if you're a developer using Copilot, this guide can help you get even more out of it.
Definitely. And then there's this interesting thing, Hyperlight, WASM, fast, secure, OS-free.
WASM, OS-free. What does all that mean?
Okay, so WASM stands for WebAssembly. It's a way to run code really fast in web browsers and other places.
Okay, and what about OS-free?
So OS-free means that applications built with this Hyperlight WASM thing, they don't need a full operating system.
So they can run directly on the hardware.
Right, or on a very lightweight layer called a hypervisor, and that makes them super fast and potentially more secure.
Interesting. So it's like streamlining how applications run. Okay, and then we have Cloud FinOps.
Yeah, cloud costs can be a real headache. So FinOps is all about managing those costs effectively.
So it's like making sure you're not wasting money on cloud services you don't need.
Right, and the FinOps framework is getting an update. They're adding scopes as a core element.
Scopes, what are those?
So scopes are basically like defining different units within your organization, like teams or projects.
And then you can track cloud spending for each scope.
Exactly. It gives you more granular control over your cloud budget and helps you see where your money's going.
Makes sense. Okay, let's dive into data analytics and AI. There's this performance dashboard in Fabric SQL DB if you're using Microsoft Fabric for your data. Sounds pretty handy.
Yeah, definitely. It's a visual way to monitor how your database is performing. You can see things like query times and resource usage.
So you make sure everything's running smoothly.
Exactly. And then there is this article, When to Use Gen AI versus Predictive AI, which I think is super important.
Yeah, because those terms get thrown around a lot, but they're not the same thing.
Right. Predictive AI is all about forecasting the future based on past data.
Like predicting customer behavior or identifying potential risks.
Exactly. And then generative AI is about creating new content, like text, images, code.
So it's like one is about prediction, the other is about creation.
Exactly. Knowing the difference is key to choosing the right tool for the job.
For sure. And then for the open source fans out there, there's an article about top 20 open source LLMs for 2025.
Yeah, LLMs, large language models, they're all the rage these days. And this article highlights some of the top open source options.
So if you're not into the big commercial LLMs, you have other choices.
Exactly. Open source gives you more transparency and flexibility. And then there's this thought-provoking title, Observability Without a Data Lake. Not anymore.
Okay, so observability, that's about understanding how your systems are working based on the data they produce.
Right. Right, and traditionally, data lakes have been the go-to for storing and analyzing all that data.
So this article is saying that data lakes might not be enough anymore.
Yeah, it seems like we need more advanced solutions for observability because the amount of data is just exploding.
It's like we need new ways to make sense of all this data.
Exactly, and then there's an article about how schema helps Microsoft's LLMs understand your content.
Schema, so that's like giving your data a structure, right?
Right. It's like giving the AI a blueprint so it can understand the relationships between different pieces of information.
Makes sense. And then there's a very fundamental question. Where do we get our data? Examples and sources.
Yeah, data provenance is super important. Knowing where your data comes from is crucial for trusting it.
Absolutely. You need to know how it was collected, what its limitations are.
Exactly. This article dives into all that. And then we have 7 surprising ways Notebook LM boosts creativity.
Notebook LM, that's that AI note-taking tool, right?
Yeah, but this article is about using it for more than just note-taking. It's about unlocking its creative potential.
Interesting. So it's like brainstorming, generating ideas, stuff like that.
Exactly. And then lastly, for data and AI, there's an update about backup storage billing in Microsoft Fabric SQL DB.
Okay, so if you're using that service, you'll want to pay attention to how you're being billed.
Yeah, make sure your backup strategies are aligned with your budget.
Okay, let's move on to security, compliance, and privacy.
Sounds good.
There's a video about data center security at Microsoft.
Yeah, so this is all about the physical security of their data centers, all the measures they take to protect their infrastructure.
Just like the foundation of their security, right?
Yeah.
Protecting the physical hardware.
Exactly. And then there's a video about Microsoft's zero trust approach.
Zero trust, we hear that a lot these days. Can you explain what it means?
Yeah, it's basically the idea that you should never trust anyone or anything by default.
So you always verify every user, every device, every connection.
Right, and you only give people the minimum access they need, the least privilege principle.
And you constantly monitor everything for suspicious activity.
Exactly. It's like a high security building where everyone needs to show their ID at every door.
No matter who you are, no exceptions. And then there's a video about applying ingress and egress control.
So ingress and egress control are all about controlling the flow of traffic in and out of your network.
So ingress is what comes in, egress is what goes out.
Right, and by controlling those, you can prevent unauthorized access and data leaks.
So it's like having a security checkpoint at the border of your network.
Exactly. And then we have Purview data security investigations.
So Microsoft Purview, that's their data governance and compliance service, right?
Right, and this data security investigations feature is all about investigating security incidents like data breaches.
So you can track down who accessed what data and when.
Exactly, and then there's news about a FedRAMP overhaul to add automation, industry collaboration.
FedRAMP, that's the government security standard for cloud services, right?
Right, and this overhaul is all about making the process more efficient and up to date.
So incorporating automation and getting input from the industry.
Exactly. It should make FedRAMP more robust and responsive to the evolving threat landscape.
And then there's this thing about Microsoft Security Copilot agents and AI protections.
So Security Copilot is Microsoft's AI-powered security tool, and these agents are like automated security guards.
So they can detect, investigate, and even respond to threats automatically.
Exactly. And the AI protections are like AI-powered shields that are built into Microsoft security products.
So AI is becoming a big part of security, both defensively and offensively.
Definitely. And then lastly, for security, there's an article about continuous compliance monitoring for IT MSPs.
IT MSPs, so those are the companies that manage IT for other companies, right?
Right. And for them, continuous compliance monitoring is crucial because they're handling sensitive data for multiple clients.
So they need to make sure they're always meeting all the regulatory requirements.
Exactly. It's about being proactive and preventing compliance issues before they become big problems.
Okay, let's move on to learning and certifications.
Sounds good.
First up, we have Microsoft AI Skills Fest.
Yeah, if you want to learn more about AI, this is the place to be.
Workshops, learning paths, certifications, it's all there.
Definitely check it out. And then there's a video about Excel formulas and functions, full course.
Excel never goes out of style, does it?
Not really. It's still a super valuable skill to have, and this course will take you from beginner to expert.
Nice. And then we have some very specific training, industrial control systems, ICS training available through CISA.
Yeah, ICS are the systems that control critical infrastructure like power grids and manufacturing plants.
So their security is super important.
Absolutely, a cyber attack on an ICS could have devastating real-world consequences.
So this training from CISA is all about protecting those critical systems.
Exactly. And then lastly, for learning, we have some videos about the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Client Analyzer.
What's that all about?
So it's a diagnostic tool for troubleshooting issues with the Defender for Endpoint Security Agent.
So if you're having problems with Defender on your devices, this tool can help.
Right. There's an overview video and then some more specific videos about onboarding security settings and troubleshooting.
Awesome. So if you're managing endpoint security, definitely check those out.
Okay, last but not least, industry news and trends.
Let's see what's happening in the wider tech world.
All right, first up, we have how software engineers actually use AI.
So this is a real-world look at how AI is being used in software development.
Exactly. It's not just hype. It's about practical applications and real benefits.
And then there's a link to discover more about the most popular AI tools based on website traffic.
Yeah, so this gives you a sense of which AI tools are getting the most attention right now.
Cool. And then this one is pretty interesting. The Excel World Champion isn't worried about Copilot.
Yeah, I love that one. It shows that even with all this advanced AI, human expertise is still super valuable.
So the Excel World Champion sees Copilot as a tool, not a replacement.
Exactly. It's about augmentation, not replacement. And then we have a big acquisition. Siemens acquires Altair for their industrial AI portfolio.
Siemens, that's a huge industrial company. What does this mean for AI in the industrial world?
It's a big deal. It shows that AI is becoming a major force in industrial applications.
So things like optimizing manufacturing processes and making factories more efficient?
Exactly. And then for the quantum computing enthusiasts, there's a discussion with Dr. Des Sarma and Dr. Nayak.
Quantum computing, that's still pretty futuristic, isn't it?
It is, but it has the potential to be revolutionary, and these experts are leading the way.
Awesome. And then lastly, we have the first plug-in quantum server system.
So this is interesting because it suggests that quantum computing is becoming more accessible.
Like a plug-and-play quantum computer.
Well, kind of. It could make it easier for researchers and companies to experiment with quantum computing.
That's amazing. So that's it for this week's deep dive into Andrew Kagan's newsletter.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground from Azure to quantum computing.
And there's even more in the newsletter, so make sure you check it out. There are links to all the articles and videos.
Absolutely. And as we were going through all this news, it really made me think,
About what?
well, with AI and automation advancing so quickly, how do we adapt and keep our skills relevant?
That's a good question. It's something we all need to be thinking about.
Definitely, it's not just about the technology. It's about how we use it and how we adapt to it.
So what do you think? How are you preparing for the future of work in this rapidly changing tech landscape?
Let us know your thoughts. You can find contact information in Andrew Kagan's newsletter.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And in the meantime, stay curious, keep learning, and keep exploring the ever-evolving world of technology.
Absolutely, because who knows what amazing things we'll discover next week.
That's right. Until then, stay tuned.
And keep on learning.